I promised last time that we'd explore for small creatures such as we a bit more depth. So let's go ahead and take a look at the character creation system that exists for this game today. Hello everybody, and thank you all for joining us again here today on Hastings County for another TTRPG talk. This video series takes a look at tabletop role-playing games and related materials, takes a look at resources for world building and game design. Today what we're going to do is we're going to be diving, as I mentioned, into this game here by Anna Blackwell for small creatures such as we. Again, links to this game will be found in the doobly-doo down below. We did take a look at the world building creation, the sort of world building and sort of space creation system that this game uses in our Galaxy 24 episode that we released last week, but I happen to know most of you didn't watch that. If you do want to receive notifications about new videos, do remember to like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that jazz. Yay. Anyway, as I promised in that video, I said that this actually has a pretty unique character creation system, so we're going to dive into that as a part of our Lifepath creation mini-series. So let's go ahead and take a look at the interesting way that this game does character creation. Character creation in for small creatures such as we is interesting because it involves the use of this sort of hex chart that you see here, or hex flower, let's call it, that you see here on the screen. We start obviously in the middle, and then basically we pick or randomly roll or draw cards or whatever in order to go from the inside to the outside. So each of these is, of course, this inner green, sort of this green inner hex area is for childhood. The orange one is adolescence, and the red, reddish purple color on the outside is adult things. And each of these terms, of course, corresponds with a chart or table that you'll find on the pages that come next. As we mentioned in our last video, this game does utilize a mixture of dice and cards. We're not going to be using the cards right this second, because even though we could use the cards for this, we do have to pull out weird sets and things. And as you count the number of hexes going out, the first set, of course, is 6. So we can, if we want to randomize it, we can just use a d6. The next one out has 12. Then the third one is a little stranger because, of course, it has 18, but I'll just use a random number generator online in order to pull that one. So basically, just to go through the steps real quick, also going through the little chart that, the sort of impromptu character sheet that you see above me, we, of course, have to do the childhood, adolescence, and adulthood to determine what happens through our life path, our background. Each of these combined together help create a sort of backstory goals that we have. And also, once we have created all of that, we will then go and determine exactly what our skills are. We get 2 primary skills and a secondary skill. Another thing that's important to note for this game, for small creatures such as we, is that, of course, a lot of the story comes from the interaction of your player captain character and the other characters, which, again, if you're playing solo, which this game was originally designed for, would be, of course, primarily NPCs who are other crew members on your ship. So what we'll do also is we'll go ahead and create a crew member, which actually utilizes the deck to pull a set of 3 traits, which partly describe a bit more about the character, the sort of secondary character, this crew member, but also gives us a little bit more information about who they are and what they're good at. And then we also then pick two skills for each of them, in addition to, obviously, and those are the only mechanical elements of it. The rest of it are basically kind of like coming up with, what does this character look like? What do they do? Like, what are some backstory elements that might be related to traits or might not? and just describing like, their personality and things like that. Anyway, so first things first, we need to go ahead and create our captain. So what I'll do is I'll go clockwise with the idea that starting from whichever one is closest to the middle, slightly right to the middle. So Earth Child would be 1, for example, in the first one. Wild Soul would be 1 in that one, and then Deserter will be 1 as we go around on that one, just to make life a little bit easier. So I'm going to go ahead and roll my d6 so we can get our childhood first. So I rolled a 5, so that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are a pirate kid. Flipping to the page with the table and looking down here at pirate kid, it says it says that we start with 2 criminal rep, and we also start with 2 criminal contacts. So the 2 criminal contacts, of course, those are NPCs that are not on our crew that we could potentially utilize to gain some extra benefits and stuff, and so on. So the prompting questions it asks us is, what was it like growing up as a pirate? What was your first crime? And did you have a pirate name? Which is interesting. We'll go ahead and leave the rest of that for later. Instead, what we'll do is we'll hop back to our table so we can go ahead and roll our adolescence. Again, remember, I'm going to be rolling a d12 for this one. And I rolled a 1, so a wild soul. So taking a look at the table here, wild soul is the one here on the bottom. It says, why did you stay off grid for so long? What was it like out there in nature and the unknown? And it says we need to mark 1 cycle while on planet to gain 3d6 food. Okay, so basically what we can do is this gives us a special ability where it doesn't matter what planet we're on. If we take 1 cycle of our sort of like shore leave time or time spent on planet, we can gain 3d6 food, basically by foraging, I'm assuming. So presumably we went out and we roughed it in the wilds for some reason. Maybe we were hiding out because our first crime was something really serious, and that we were hiding from the authorities or something. That's a possibility. So next we'll go ahead and roll for all adults. So let me hop over here to this, and I rolled a 14. Would put us at bounty hunter. So that's quite interesting. So we went from a pirate to being out in the wilds, and then became a bounty hunter when we came back to civilization. Flipping over here to the table, we have bounty hunter. Oh, where is it? There it is. Here it is. So it says that we get to draw twice when we're doing tracking events. So just to dive into a bit more detail on exactly what it means when we get to draw twice, it says here specifically, basically, whenever we get a tracking event, because we're a bounty hunter, we draw 2 cards, and then we get to choose which one we use, unless the cards specifically say we have to use something. Like something takes priority. So it says here, every story starts with a goal, and that's exactly what this step is all about. Each of the adulthood careers has a goal associated with them, but like for all things in solo RPGs, you are welcome to come up with your own, or take a career take from a career that isn't your own, or change things up however you see fit to match your captain. Okay. If you have more than one adulthood career, pick whichever you prefer or smash them together for something new. So again, this is to try to give us, a direction for our character, or for where the story might be going at the start of the game, but obviously we don't have to continue following that. We could end up leaving this goal behind and picking up different goals or stuff like that. So as it mentioned, each one has one. So if you flip over here to the bounty hunter, it says our starting mission is bounty hunting. And our goal says you are tracking someone who hurt you or someone else you love, but you need to find clues on who or where they are first. Each time you complete a bounty hunting mission, you roll a d6. On a 6, you gain 1 clue. Once you have 10 clues, you get to start a bounty hunting mission where the person who you have been looking for is the target. Okay, so that actually sounds pretty good to me. Like maybe we are trying to track down the captain of the original pirate ship, or somebody who did bad things when we originally were a pirate. Oh, here's an idea. We were a pirate kid, right? We grew up on a pirate ship. We became with a wild soul element. Maybe we were marooned. So maybe we're hunting for the person who marooned us. Maybe we were like the child of the original captain of this pirate ship, or like a first officer or somebody big, some important leader on the ship. And they got overthrown in a mutiny. Were marooned on a remote planet. We were marooned with them. And maybe something happened to them and we had to survive on our own, like they died or got sick or something. And so we became a bounty hunter so we can try to hunt down the people who marooned us and stuff. And of course, that would be the person who is the goal of this mission. So now we need to pick skills. I know it says crewmate skills there, but these skills are for everybody. So again, we get to pick 2 primary skills and a secondary skill. So, looking at these, since we are a bounty hunter and with a prior experience as a pirate, it would make sense for at least one of our skills to be combat. Another thing that would be interesting to pull would be, considering we have survived in the wilds and stuff. Or maybe there's something here. Oh, survivalist. There we go. For the last one, I think I'm going to pick clerk. This specifically, it says that at the end of a mission, we have a chance of regaining any money that we spent on docking fuel or food. So again, just scrimping and saving and managing to get back resources and being very frugal and conservative with our stuff, which feels like it really falls into that. So that would be a good thing for somebody who has obviously grown up with not a lot. So that would be good. Okay, and that pretty much sets up our captain. Obviously, we would need to normally determine, like, give them a name, figure out some basics, decide exactly where we're going to start, stuff like that. But I think we're going to go ahead and stop there with this captain for now. And instead, we're going to go ahead and dive in and create a crew member real quick, just to kind of show off the way that system works. So here is the beginning of the crewmate creation system. As I mentioned, we do traits and skills first. So what we'll do is we'll draw 3 cards, and those will be the specific traits that our character is going to start off with. And then once we're done with that, we pick 1 primary and 1 secondary skill. And then after that, we would determine what they look like, how they dress, their name, general attitude, and stuff like that. And of course, there's rules there also for how we would hire. Generally, they suggest that you go ahead and start with 3, but you could start with as few as 1 in order to get things off the ground quickly. So I went ahead and drew all 3 cards at once, and then we'll just kind of go through them one at a time as we're looking on the tables that are on these pages right here. So the first one that I drew was the 2 of hearts. So if we take a look over here, the 2 of hearts is a vegetal. So specifically, it says that means that they evolved from some form of non-animal life. So instead, they function more similarly to a plant or a fungus. So for our next one, I drew the 6 of clubs. So we'll hop over here, and it says they are pessimistic. So specifically, it mentions that whenever this crewmate would normally gain happiness, which is, there's like a happiness track that kind of basically shows how, well, obviously satisfied this character is with their current conditions on ship and stuff. But anyway, whenever this person would be gaining happiness, we roll 1d6. If they gain a 1, then they don't gain happiness. All right, the third trait that I drew was the 8 of spades, which here says old. So, specifically it says this crewmate is old. How does this affect them? How old are they? Once per journey, they tell a story about their past. Well, you see, Sonny, in my day. And because of course this is a plant, maybe they're like an oak tree and they're like over 1,000 years old or something. Now that we've determined their traits, we would then pool skills. So again, we need a primary skill and a secondary skill. Unfortunately, our traits haven't really pointed us towards any skills specifically. Okay, there are 18 of each. I'm going to go back to that D18 and just roll something random for at least the primary skill, just to get a basic idea of what this character is like. And I rolled a 6, which is computer tech. So specifically, it says that they can attempt to fix any computer-related event by drawing a card. If it is a face card, then you fix the issue. So, okay. And then the secondary skill, well, old does say that they tell a story about their past once per journey, and there is a storyteller thing here that it says that it will increase the shore leave of all crewmates by 2. That would be interesting. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Let's do a storyteller. And then, of course, as I mentioned, we go through like how they dress, what their name is, general attitude, things like that. So let's just say, I don't know about how they would dress. Maybe they're kind of like Groot, or maybe if any of you have played Stellaris and are familiar with the Blorg, maybe they look like Blorg. This guy is kind of pessimistic and old. Maybe he's a bit of a grumpy grouch. And he has a tendency to tell somewhat of bombastic stories about either how things were greater back when he was a kid, or back in his day, or whatever. Or either that, or he tells stories like that involve a ridiculous amount of like bad luck to such extreme extent that he keeps getting stuck in the weirdest situations. And so, but ends up lucking his way out of them in the end. Something like that. Like maybe he ended up getting pulled into like some sort of weird war, some weird disastrous like diplomatic situation that almost caused the war, but because of some weird thing that he did or something, he ended up basically fixing the problem. Maybe because all of the diplomats over there just came because of something ridiculous he did, came to hate him more than they hated each other, and so they decided to like sign a peace treaty or something. Yes, so that was the sort of life path character creation system for small creatures such as we. Again, we kind of dived into the actual creation of a character, which was which our character was a pirate kid who got marooned and kind of grew up out in the wilds, surviving until they were found, and then they became a bounty hunter to track down the person who basically took over the crew and marooned them. So they became a bit of a survivalist. And then we also created a old, grumpy, oaken, pessimistic crew member who is an expert at telling stories and running computers. So as our first crew member. So thank you all again for joining us again here today on Hudson County. Again, this was For Small Creatures Such As We. Links can be found down below if you are interested potentially in this game. More expansions and things will be coming with this game as Anna Blackwell kind of finishes rolling things out from their Kickstarter. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you all for joining us again here today on Hudson County. Don't forget to rate your purchases, of course, and have a good zone.